This is Oliver from Alibaba Cloud, and today I want to present you one of our services, which is called the Message Service. So as you can see, I'm on the landing page of alibabacloud.com, and for this tutorial, I'm assuming that you've already created an Alibaba Cloud account. So let's go to the console of Alibaba Cloud, and this is our main dashboard. And in the upper left, you can see the tab Products, and there under Application Services, you will find Message Service. Let's click on that and go there. So what is Message Service? So it's really a high performance and reliable distributed message and notification service that supports massive amounts of messages and concurrent operations. And it really helps you to facilitate asynchronous message transfer between different kinds of applications or systems that could just live anywhere as long as they have access to a public endpoint or to our service. So Message Service provides, in essence, two models. The first one is a first in, first out queue. And this queue is designed to send or receive messages in a point-to-point way. And the consumer receives a message by actively pulling it. So it's a pull model. On the other hand, we have the topic, which is designed to send or receive the message in a publish-subscribe way. So it's really one-to-many. And the message is pushed from the message brokers to the consumers. So this is a push model. And the consumers, could be an HTTP endpoint, could be another queue, or in future iterations of the service, also an SMS or an email or a mobile phone. So let's start with the topic, with a queue, sorry. So let's go to the Singapore region for this demo. And as you can see in the upper right of the screen, you have this nice little blue button, which is labeled Create Queue. Let's do that. So once you're clicking this button, you see a wizard here, which helps you to set up and provision a new queue. So first of all, you need to specify the name. You need to specify the long polling wait time. I give it a number of 0. So what is that? Actually, if you're thinking about the pricing model of Message Service, one of the components is the number of requests you're doing against the endpoints. Now imagine if you need to check constantly if there's any new messages in the queue, you would need to constantly send requests to the queue, each of which is charged. Now what you can do is with the long polling wait time, if you say, let's say specify it with 10, that would mean once a request is sent out, it will wait for 10 seconds. And if in this time frame there's a new message, it will return this message. And this entire operation will be counted as one request. Okay? So for the sake of this demo, I will leave it as 0. Then there's the invisibility timeout in seconds, which I will set to 1. What does that mean? Well, as soon as a consumer pulls down a message from the queue, this message is invisible for the other consumers of the queue. So you could think of it as a kind of a lock for this message. However, as long as this invisibility timeout isn't extended by the current owner of this message, the message will automatically time out and will be visible again for the other consumers. Then there's, you can specify the maximum message size in bytes. I will just go with 1024. As you can see, the maximum is 65,536. Then you can also specify a message retention period, which must be at minimum 60 seconds. I will go with 300 seconds, which is equal to 5 minutes, meaning if a message hasn't been deleted after 5 minutes, Message Service will automatically delete it for you. And the last field that you can enter is the message delay in seconds, which I will set to 0, meaning let's assume you're setting this value to 10 seconds. It means if you're pushing a message to the queue, it will only be visible after 10 seconds. So this gives you, the possibility, for example, to realize scenarios which need, a timed trigger, for example. And I will also enable logging for this queue. As you can see here in logs, you can specify a bucket where all the Yaxis logs will be stored. So let's go back to queues. And there it is, my queue. As you can see, there's no message in there yet. So there are 3 ways in which you can interact with this queue. One is to directly talk to the REST APIs, obviously. These are very well documented on our documentation page. Most developers, however, will want to use our SDKs, which are available for different kinds of programming languages, such as Java, Python, Node, or Go. A third option is, if you just want to quickly play around with it, or, like I am doing a demo, you can also use directly the console. And you have these 2 nice buttons here. One is called Send Message, and the other one is called Receive Message. So let's send a message to the queue. And let's specify the message content to be, this is my first message. Let's send it. Message has been sent. And now, if I hit refresh, you will see that the number of active messages has increased by 1. Now, let's receive it. And as you can see, this is the message that we have just put into the queue. Note that we haven't deleted yet. So since the visibility timeout has been set to 1 second, it's now visible again for other consumers. Now, if I hit receive message again, you will see that we're getting the same message, and the DQ count of this message has increased by 1. One thing I want to highlight here is the so-called message handle, which is also referred to as receipt handle in our documentation, which you could think of a token. And this token is generated by the message service and returned to consumers when they are receiving messages. And consumers can use this token to delete a message, okay, or also change the visibility timeout of a message, or extend it respectively. However, as soon as the message will get visible again, this token expires. All right. So then let's head over to topics, which is based on a push model and based on a publish subscribe model. So let's create a topic here. We need to give it a name again. Let's call it my topic. And a maximum message size. Let's stick with 1024 bytes. And we're also going to enable logging here. Let's hit OK. And this is our topic. Now, same for topic. You can use the REST APIs. You can use our SDKs. Or to quickly play around, you can also use the console. Now, if I published a message now to this topic, it wouldn't go anywhere since we haven't specified any subscribers yet. So let's do that. Let's click on my topic and wait until the spinning wheel has finished. Yes. And let's click on this blue button here labeled subscribe. And as you can see, there's actually 2 types supported right now, HTTP and queue. Let's start with HTTP first. We need to specify a name. Let's call it HTTP sub. And we also need to specify an endpoint where the message should be pushed to. So for this, I'm going to use a nice little tool called PTS version 2, which basically allows you to quickly set up an endpoint where you can just push any message to. Okay. So let's paste that into here. This one here. We don't specify any message filter label, so you can also filter messages based on labels. Okay, we could do that. Leaving it empty just means we just will push any message that arrives at this topic to the subscriber. And we can also choose the notification content format. Let's go with JSON, and you can also specify the retrace strategy like back off or decay. I will just stick with the defaults here. Let's hit OK. And there's our subscription. Now let's add a second one, since this is a one-to-many. And let's add another one, queue. Let's give it also a name, queue sub. And the endpoint is just the name of the queue that we have specified before. We also leave the message filter label empty, and just stick with the defaults here. Let's hit OK. Now, if we go back to this topic now and publish a message, let's see what happens. So this is my second message. Let's send it. Boom. So let's have a look at our endpoint here. If something has arrived, and as you can see, this is an older one here. Yes, it did. So let's take a view on that or look on that. And as you can see, the most interesting part here is the post body and the content that has arrived here. As you can see, it has a field called message, which says this is my second message, along with other attributes such as message ID or the publish time and so on and so forth. So let's also have a look at the queues, and the number of active messages is now 2. Let's receive it. So this is still the old message, and this is still the new message here. So seems to have worked. Great. So this concludes my very quick presentation or tutorial about message service. I hope you liked it. And see you around, and thanks for listening. Bye.